I didn't know you were recording it. I need to comb my hair. I don't want to look too bad. I'm trying to find a comb, y'all.
Okay.
Your hair seems to look fine, though, Mama.
I can find a comb. Boy. Ah.
I should keep all this.
Look, let me call you back. I'm on a call with Portia and Yvette. She's doing something for her job. All right.
All right. Laughing at you, Grandma.
All right.
So my name is Yvette, and I have raised 2 daughters.
My name is Portia, and I raised 2 boys and 2 girls.
My name is Betty. I raised 5 children, and I helped raise about 3 of my grandchildren.
What years would you say you raised children?
Well, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and the 90s. When raising my children, it was just my husband and I when we first started out. And later on, I decided I was at home, and then I decided to work a little bit, and I had maybe friends to help, with my children at that particular time. Later on in life, I had my last baby. That was altogether different. She was taken to daycare. And so that was, different from what I did with, my other children.
So with your first 4 children, they were raised pretty much at home, and your last child had daycare?
Yes.
And your help around home was just between you, your husband, and family and friends?
Yes.
So my experience brings me in the 90s. My first child started off in the daycare, but due to a continual sickness or illness, was moved from that environment to a home environment with one person. During that time, government assistance helped out. The second child went to a daycare. It was a family-owned daycare.
For your first child, you transitioned, which is my sister, you transitioned from a daycare setting to an in-home care. Were they actually a daycare, or was it someone who just decided to watch Portia alone?
Somebody decided to watch Portia alone.
So still just like a village, a person, a part of the village. Okay.
Part of a village.
All right, Portia, what is your experience?
So mine started in 2008, but he was with my grandma, so his great grandma, until my mother moved down, and then she took over from there. My mom had someone else watching her. That was a friend, and because he was special needs, it was just him. She was watching, right? Well, I don't think he got into daycare till around, was it 2 or 3? I think there was assistance back then too, because I was in school. The last 3 were basically straight daycare.
So do you all feel like society's transition from that village aspect, or do you feel like it's still there?
I feel like it's went to daycare. And my generation, their grandparents aren't as older, so they're still working. They're not retired, which is why I think a lot of people hold off or having children, because daycare is so expensive and you don't have that village.
I do, however, think that it is still present. Parents that are moving closer to their children to help out with raising. But I also know that it has changed from when my mom did it, because during that time, she actually stayed home with her first 4 children.
When I wasn't working, like you said, a village helping each other. There was a couple of families in the building that I was living in. I would keep them also.
Look at you. So you were a child care provider. So would you get paid from there, or were you kind of?
It's like a small fee,
Mm-hmm. What would y'all say it was your first priority in finding childcare?
Well, you would try to find something, I would say, closer to, where you're working, if you were working or something to that effect.
And I would agree, closer proximity.
Yeah, I would agree too, especially when they first start daycare, because you need to be close by for a call if they have to be picked up or anything.
You guys shared getting assistance. What did that look like? And did you think it was really helpful?
It was helpful. because at that particular time, I also was in college as well.
My first one, I don't think we paid anything because I was just in school. So I guess they went from my school schedule. They saw I wasn't having a job. I had no income. So that one was free. With my second child, it was free too. When it comes down to the girls, that's when I had like a secure job. So they go about, how much you make, and they have like a set percentage of what they will pay based on your income. I basically never paid more than $50 a week, when the standard fee is $500 a week for an infant. During the pandemic, the government was paying for everything as long as you were working, and that was super helpful.
Also, they had vouchers also for, like your milk and stuff like that also.
Even when you were raising kids too, Grandma?
Well, with my last the last child I had, I got the vouchers. They didn't pay for any of my daycare and stuff, but I did get the vouchers, like for milk, cereal, and different stuff like that. Do they still do that now, Portia?
Yeah, they still do vouchers.
Where we have the paper version of the WIC voucher, I think now
we have electronic cards.
Is there ever a time where y'all feel like I need to get my child out of a certain childcare situation?
The only thing that me and my mom spoke about of getting my oldest child out of, it was something about what was inside the daycare that continued to make her sick. We made the decision to transfer her from that.
Every daycare has their set rate. Some of them are just the regular rate. Some have an over the market rate. So like the 4 or 5 star daycares, they have a rate that you pay over the voucher. So even though you may be responsible for like 10%, they require $100 on top of that. For my second and third child, I had changed into a higher daycare.
Like a higher quality daycare?
A higher quality, daycare, which caused me to pay more money. And over time, I had to switch the vet.
And why did you feel like you had to do that, though?
I thought it was a better quality of care. They had like indoor playgrounds. They had a richer curriculum. They were doing more with them. In order to get that, you had to pay more. And a lot of people aren't given that opportunity to get vouchers because they make too much according to their numbers. I do feel like people have to settle for different qualities based on, financial stability.
So we looked at some numbers, and on average in North Carolina, it is right under $14,000 a year for base quality care for infants. And if you want high quality care, it's roughly $25,000 for infants. What are you guys' reaction to that?
For some people, that's salary.
Yeah, that's right.
You're working to pay somebody else, and there's nothing left. So that's really sad.
So you're working for nothing, really.
Grandma, what would you say numbers were like back then, if you could remember? Maybe not a year, but maybe a week, a month.
I can't even think of it because I paid by myself. I didn't get their sisters' help.
Yeah.
I don't think it was too bad. I don't know if it was $60 a week, something like that. I'm not 65, something like that. I'm not sure.
You don't realize how much you're actually putting out of pocket, but it is a lot.
Right.
You wouldn't even be, you would say that you wouldn't even be able to afford base care if you weren't able to get like a voucher, right?
That one year where I lost it, more than half of my check. I don't know how I made ends meet.
My child care plan is hopefully my mama can early retire and can pay her a little something on the side or something. I don't know. That's my hope and plan.
I think more people are thinking, how can I bring my parents or someone closer so that I don't have to pay daycare?
On average, childcare workers make about $12 an hour.
They need to be paid more than $12 an hour.
I put it this way. I feel like they have our kids for majority of the day. They definitely deserve more than $12 an hour.
Well, we have less than a minute left. I think we've utilized our time well, because it's like, when was the last time you spoke to your family about these things? What are the differences? What are the similarities across the conversation?